this is the theme number 5 is emerging technology landscape. Okay, let's look at this table, which is very interesting. What it says is, or what we're trying to conclude here is that the top 10 companies by market cap historically, right, in 2007, as much as 5 companies were from the oil and gas sector, right? PetroChina number 1, Exxon number 2, right, and Sinopec right at number 10. 5 companies was from the oil and gas space, which is the energy sector. And only one was the green. The only one was the tech side. Come to 2014, that 5 from energy reduced to 2, and 1 from tech increased to 3. Right now, 2021, as we speak, there is not one energy, not one oil and gas stock in the global top 10 by market cap. And how many do you have from the tech sector? I mean, you can see it for yourself. It's 7. Yeah, and the other 3 are, one is from semiconductor industry, which is TSMC. One is obviously conglomerate Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's company, and obviously Tesla, which is an EV auto company. Saudi Aramco doesn't figure it. It's a top 10 company, but because of a low float, it doesn't feature in the top 10 as per the studies. You need to have a float of liquid non-promoter holding of greater than 85%, less than 85%. So the larger point we're trying to make here is that how things are moving, right? Every 7 years, every 5 years, every 10 years, in terms of the positioning of the top 10. And just keep this table in mind. We will be referring to it again at the conclusion of this theme, right? Keep this table in mind. We'll be drawing a parallel between this and the India, how India was looking like, is now, and what we think it could be 5 years down the line. So keep this table in mind when we reach the conclusions. All right. So yeah, this is what everybody could resonate with. This is how traditional companies have been doing business, and now platform companies are doing business. Traditional companies like a McDonald's, Big Bazaar, how they upsell, cross-sell, improve the customer services, retention rates, etc., etc. And now, you have the new age companies like Amazon, like Big Basket. The difference. How let's say I went to a Big Bazaar, right, and we shopped there. The bill was generated a day down the line, right? The what I bought, exactly, and whatever the analytics are surrounding that, right, would be done, let's say, a couple of hours or a day later, right? But in today's tech world, what's happening is that analytics is run simultaneously. As you do a purchase, let's say I purchased something from Amazon at 11 a.m. today. By 11:05, the analytics would run and give me a conclusion, right? What is selling today, or what was the hottest item yesterday, or many more such things, right? It's as fast as that. Not only that, the moment I put something on the cart, right, the analytics can start running at the same time, right? The larger point we're trying to make here is that there's so much that can be done today by platform companies using data, and we'll just show you, what we are trying to draw parallel with, with data, what it was, what oil was historically, and what data will be in the future. So the likes of examples, MakeMyTrip, Zomato, IRCTC, they are using data to their advantage to cross-sell, upsell, increase connectivity with the audience. So yeah, so within this, the sub theme that we're trying to highlight is data is the new oil, right? All these guys, the Googles, Byju's, Amazon, Alibaba, they are using data and trying to derive revenue out of it. What's data? Simple: age, gender, height, anything that can give some conclusion, right, to the end user. It could be pictures, sounds, ideas, statistics, right? Let's look at the similarity and not so similarity between oil and data, right? You were extracting energy in the traditional oil, where you're extracting information, right? That energy was fueling the economy. Here, information is fueling the economy, right? Data is obviously infinite, while oil is finite. Yeah, and therefore, and data can be used multiple times. While oil once used, you've guzzled your petrol diesel. It's you cannot use it again, right? In terms of the not so good things, again, pollution and leakage is very high in the case of oil. While in the case of data, obviously it is the crime and terrorism, etc., etc. You recently would have read yesterday, day before, how cryptocurrencies worth some hundreds of $1 million were siphoned off from somebody's account, and that's a part of data terrorism. Okay, let's see, where did the word data is a new oil or the term originate. So it was originated by Clive Humphrey, who was senior management team of TESCO, and he launched the world's first supermarket loyalty scheme, and he used a metaphor to explain how data once mined can be used extensively if one analyzes it correctly, right? To the extent that the chairman got scared and told him that you probably know more about my customers than after 3 months than I know after 30 years. That was the way he reacted the first time Clive presented his term and his first set of analytics on the data he had collected. Yeah, and that led to TESCO's market share rising big time and became a huge success factor for TESCO. TESCO for starters is like Walmart, is like India's Big Bazaar, Reliance, etc. Yeah, Jack Welch, the global ex-CEO of GE, also said, the two sources of competitive advantage, how the ability to learn more about the customers faster than the competition, and the ability to turn that learning into action faster than competition. That's the way you can use data. Same thoughts were echoed by Cisco. See, these are all global experts talking about how data can be used and is the new one. Therefore, we're just presenting some of the facts to you. And they are talking of it being transformative, wealth creating, etc., etc. The not so good part is that we're still not able to utilize it effectively. Some of it could be inaccurate, some of it could be missing, some of it could be not so good data. But obviously we are progressing in that direction. Obviously, over a period of time, this would improve further. Let's look at some of the global and Indian giants. How are they using data? And we'll use a lot of examples ahead, so that all of you can sink in with these upcoming giants. Let's take an example of Bajaj Finance, because it's a company people can resonate with. They've used database of lakhs of doctors, and try to identify the consumption, spending, behavioral patterns, and based on that they do their lending. Yeah, so that's where it comes handy. How much of what's the quantum of loan? Let's say a doctor based out of Bandra would tend to ask for what is the delinquency rate, what are the payment patterns, etc., etc. They can calculate, or they can guesstimate much earlier, right? Even before they have given out the check, right? How is that possible? Because they have so much data based on which they drive that conclusion of the recent couple of years of pattern of that's emerged from that data. Yeah, Aadhaar, obviously, the biggest one of the biggest programs globally, where Government of India ended up transferring money to the accounts of crores of Indians. So that's how it's being used. Another one I want to highlight is something like IKEA. Yeah, IKEA is now obviously in India, spreading fast. Sitting at home, you can just place furniture virtually and change the looks, color, sizes, and do your shopping and take a call. Which one do you want? You don't need to really be there physically. Yeah, so let's start with the first of we present a lot of technology platforms. Yeah, and as I said, we'll be presenting 2 Indian examples and 2 global examples. Yeah, so require patience. We'll be spending about another 30 odd minutes, 30 to 40 minutes in the next two presentations, and then we'll open for Q&A. So yeah, maybe about 20 minutes each. So this is the first one, fintech. Everybody can resonate. You have broking, you have the payment gateways, all of them in India and globally, who are now becoming huge technology platforms. MobiKwik is obviously an IPO from India coming very soon. So is Policybazaar, and so is Paytm. Let's look at the first slide on fintech. Yeah, as we said, 2 examples from India, 2 examples globally. From India, we have chosen Paytm and Policybazaar. Paytm is obviously well known. Vijay Sharma started the company. The company has been getting funding continuously for the last many years from global giants like Ant Group, SAF, SoftBank, and is now the #1 digital wallet platform and is now evolving into a comprehensive ecosystem. They are now offering other payment services as well. Yeah, their revenues was in excess of 3,000 crore in FY21 and versus the revenue which was 336 crore in FY15. So in a matter of 6 years, they have almost done 10x revenue. Yeah, which was the last company you heard which had done 10x in 6 years revenue. That's the power of a tech platform company. Once you achieve a scale, they would have taken the first 5 years, the first 300 crore would have taken them some 7-8 years. The first 300 crore, which is 336, but the last between the journey from 300 to 3,000 crore is taking them only 6 years. That's the way they have grown. Look at Policybazaar, something similar. First 100 crores they achieved somewhere in 2015, and today they are sitting in excess of almost 1,000 crore of revenue. And this was founded in 2008 and is backed by obviously started by Yash Raiya and his team, and it's backed by InfoEdge and many global giants. Here, what we're trying to highlight is the data that you are tracking, geolocations, credit card payments, the financial activity you're doing, all of that is tracked very closely. Not to do anything negative, but to only understand the consumption patterns and therefore offer products which can be useful to clients. So digital payment landscape, that's by volume is expected to grow at 30% in the next 5 years, right? And by value by about 17%. The bottom left chart. So is the insurance market, right? The insurance market is also expected to grow 18%. See, the underlying growth driver has to be the industry growth, right? The industry is growing in double digits, right? It could be 10%, 15%, 20%, or 30%, and therefore these tech companies can grow much faster. Yeah, let's look at the similar global examples. We'll spend less time on the global examples, more time on the Indian ones, so that we can have that connectivity. PayPal is a very renowned name, and so is Square. So both of them have grown. The sales have grown, right? As much as 20 to 60% compounding for the last 3 years. Look at the stock price compounding, right? 50% average between PayPal and CAGR for the last 5 years. for the last 3 years. Yeah, so that's US, right? Where they're look at the market caps there, $300 billion and $130 billion. Yeah, 300 and 130. And where were we? I mean, our Indian counterpart, 16 and 4 billion. Huge scope, right? We're not saying we are reaching there anytime soon, but we're just trying to highlight, given the base of India, where population is either 3x, 4x, 5x compared to any other large country except China. It could be a mind-boggling number 10 years down the line, or why not by 10 years? It could be just 5 years down the line. I'm saying some of these companies. Yeah. Now let's look at the next space, which is EdTech. Yeah, EdTech is short form from education tech. We are used to going to classrooms. हम लोग भी बचपन में सब classroom में study किया है. So have our kids, right? अभी till 2019 Feb, all our kids used to go to the schools and have that real-time education, right? And some of them online as well. But 99% of India was doing real physical classroom. They were going through that. And what have you today, right? And किसने नाम सुना था अपग्रेड का, वेदांतु का, अनअकैडमी का, टॉपर का, बायजूस का? 99% people would not have heard these names. I'm saying till Feb 20, right? Or maybe in some cases 90% people would not have. Today, people know Byju's, Topper, Vedantu, etc. Like as just they would know, or at least some of the parents would know, just as they would know the other tech platforms like a Zomato or an Amazon or Flipkart, etc. The global counterparts here are, as you can see, Udemy and Stride are huge there. So let's look at Byju's and Unacademy here. Yeah, Byju's valuation $16 billion, very, very high number. They've grown organically, inorganically. They bought Akash Education recently, White Hat Junior a couple of quarters back. Topper they bought, and some of the acquisitions they have done. And where have they reached today? 5,600 crores of revenue. Crazy number, backed by vision of Byju's Ravindran, the founder, backed by the funding given by NASPER, Sequoia Advent, and others. The vision of all of this management and the board that a big edutech can be created in India, and you have that eureka moment. COVID, things go online, and you just explode, right? And now it's now the number one, possibly unicorn. Yeah, all of these are unicorns. You remember we had highlighted that in our 12th June webinar. Yeah, so you look at Paytm, which is 16 billion, and you have Byju's 16 billion. Neck to neck, they are currently in terms of the number one unicorn. And why the unicorn? Because they're privately held. The moment they get listed, obviously they can still be called unicorns, but by definition, then they go public. Yeah. So by definition, $1 billion or more privately held companies formed in the last 10-12 years, they are called unicorns. Yeah. So Byju's is the number one unicorn in the edtech space, and also education, space is expected to grow, has grown at 86% as much as in the last 3 years, and going forward, it can grow even further. Yeah. So let's say let's look at something like a US $30 billion market potential. That's there for the edtech space in the next 10 years. Yeah, which means a 9x over the current $3.4 billion. So what do they do it? Obviously, when our children, our relatives, the kids, they are studying, they are on YouTube, they are on various social media platforms, right? What they consume, right? Where they spend time while they are taking education, what they do, what they don't do, where they spend 10 seconds, where they spend 30 seconds, where they spend 1 hour, what is the age, gender, city, location. Yeah, I mean, whole host of data is getting collected second after second, minute after minute, and that is used, analyzed to by all these ed tech companies to give us more material, etc., from where these students can learn and so that the education can continue. Yeah. So that's about both giving quality content and at the same time doing effective marketing. Yeah. So that's about edtech on the Indian education space. Unacademy is obviously a big giant there, and they have grown their revenues almost to 100 crores by now, and they obviously offer it to professionals and educational entrants. For education entrance. The global comps here would be Stride and New Oriental from US and China. And obviously, you would look at a number which is pretty low there. But keep in mind there was steep correction in Chinese education edtech companies recently. So you would see a number which is far lower than what it was. You look at 3-year, 5 of New Oriental Education. That's what you see, minus 84%. Therefore, one has to be careful at the same time. Why are we highlighting this? Because obviously, not everything that you every shot that you play goes for a 6, right? Kabhi out bhi ho jata hai, right? And this is where New Oriental Education out ho gaya, which obviously not to their fault. It's just that the Chinese government clamped down on such activities, saying that it should be for non-profit purposes, right? For revenues of $1 billion and $4 billion respectively. These are the giants, and obviously India's Byju's etc. are much ahead. Let's look at food tech, right? Which is what me and you and lakhs of Indians can resonate with, because we end up spending time or using it alternate day, daily. For me personally, at least once a week. Most of the times twice a week, right? And where would I do it? Possibly only on two places: a big basket or a Zomato. Yeah, that would where I would end up spending my two hits in a week on food tech. There's only food tech, yeah. The tech, fintech, etc. that me and you would be spending per week is separate, yeah. Let's look at Zomato and Big Basket. Zomato is obviously a listed company. It's more than 2x the IPO price now. Very successful listing, despite many people doubting the fact that even they are loss making and they're commanding such valuation. Started in 2008. See how the model has evolved from food delivery in 2015, and now they are into restaurant supply. Yeah, so whatever they have collected over the years. And even now, for example, I order food from a nearby restaurant. Let's call it Banana Leaf in let's say Andheri West. The moment I do that, what food did I order? Which location? What was the time? Yeah, what did I order? Was it a dosa or a idli this time? And what was it last time? Yeah, and how was it different from another guy in Andheri West who ordered from the same place, same location, and what was the food there? Yeah, how much time it took for the restaurant in Andheri West of Banana Leaf to accept the order? How much time it took for the order to reach me? What was the payment mode that I made? Right? What is the time? There's so much information that's being collected on real-time basis, and they end up using that data. What is the larger point you're making? Is data is the next oil. They end up using that data not only to offer us more products, superior products, cross-sell, but they also end up cross-subsidizing this. They would end up using this data with other similar community people who would also need this data. For example, just to give an example, when Jubilant Food wanted to launch another cuisine in India, they went to consultants, and one of the consultants they went to was Zomato, right? And based on Zomato study, Zomato told them that based on our study, our analytics of the data that we've collected over the period, biryani is what you should be offering. Yeah, because that is the #1 cuisine being ordered by Indians in a particular area. In that case, I think spoke specifically about North and West. Yeah. So and based on that, Jubilant went ahead and started the biryani. Besides obviously the pizzas and Chinese, they also started offering biryani. Yeah. So that's where the expertise of data can go to somebody like from Zomato to a company like Jubilant. Big Basket is obviously very well known in the online grocery model space, and they also see Big Basket data का वो कहाँ use कर सकते. Now Big Basket over the period, for example, would have realized that let's say a particular shampoo, which is let's say herbal shampoo, right? A particular cereal, right? A particular grain, right? A particular tea, yeah, which is let's say green tea in this case, right? Let's say a particular washing powder, yeah, which is let's say in this case some fragrant jasmine, yeah, flavored or fragrance washing powder is selling the most. What they would do, they will come out with their own private label of the same product which is selling the most, right? With the price which is 10-20% cheaper or even more, and similar looking packaging, better looking packaging, and possibly when you are looking for let's say washing powder in an online setup, they would also show their own product and where it would say 20% cheaper than the other available. That is how you would end up using that data, of whatever they have collected over the years and use it to increase their revenue. So private label today constitutes as much as 40%. 40% of their overall, and they have now reached $2 billion valuation. And you look at the scope of markets here, growing at 30, 40, 50% year after year, and Indians are spending like crazy, especially in the last couple of months. So let's look at by now people following Zomato would know, Meituan is the number one company of China. Look at the valuation. Look at $15 billion Zomato. Look at Meituan, $167 billion, 11 times bigger. Yeah, is China 11 times bigger than India? Definitely not. Yeah, it's about maybe a 1.2, 1.3 times, maybe whatever that number is. But that's the scope. Yeah, because they have obviously reached a particular scale, penetration, profitability. Can Zomato reach that level in a couple of years? Maybe. Why not? I mean, that's again disclaimer. Some of the stocks that we would be discussing, we might have in our current portfolios, or we would end up having in the next couple of months. DoorDash is another big US company, market cap $60 billion, huge wealth created. Look at the price CAGR of Meituan and delivery, up 60, 70, 80%. Price compounding. Look at health tech now. Yeah, health tech. We have the first circle, Practo, MedLife, NetMeds. So many companies which have come up. PharmEasy, the one which is in news recently, and you have the global giants. Let's look at one by one. From PharmEasy again, recently became famous because they acquired Thyrocare. Revenues currently 600 crores, and look at the valuation there. Yeah, $4 billion. It's not a small amount. It's like what, 30,000 crore. Yeah, 30,000 crore on a 600 crores revenue would be probably currently would be maybe 800 crores. So 30,000 crore valuation on 800 crore revenue, and not in profits currently. Yeah, so that's the level that they have reached. Thyrocare they bought for about $1 billion, 7,000 odd crores. Yeah, that's the level of activity happening in tech space. Yeah, Practo is another example, $1 billion valuation and founded in 2008, and now we would have used it at some point or the other in COVID, where you use that platform to book a doctor, right? Physically, हम जाना नहीं हो पा रहा था in the COVID time, so even I ended up booking a appointment on Practo, where the doctor was on the phone, a video phone, a video chat, and we were also on that. The platform was Practo, and they helped us to do the booking, the payment, the reviews, the prescription, etc., etc. right? The beauty is, what's the beauty here? Practo. Yeah, please understand and see the impact of this. Um, let's say there is a person in Sholapur. Let's say there is a person in Jamshedpur. Yeah. Let's say there is a person even down, right, a small city down south or in east, who has the money. Yeah, they want to spend on medical infrastructure. Yeah, let's say they want to show their prescription. They want to show, somebody is unwell. They want to consult a top doctor of Bombay. What was the way out earlier, right? 2 years back, you got to fly down, yeah, or fax it or email it, etc., right? Which is obviously a time-consuming process. Now, in like 10 minutes, you can book the same doctor, obviously provided he's on a platform like Practo, and use his services, and get the consultation, upload your documents on Practo, get his advice on Practo, get his prescription back there, and use it, and reach a conclusion whether you want to, make a conclusion what is the local doctor and the big doctor from office, which was not possible earlier. Yeah, so now with this tech platforms being available, there's huge opportunity, even in a health tech space, which is growing at, you could see, $2 billion, 2 billion is now 5 billion, and is now expected to be $50 billion, 10 times in 10 years. That's the health tech opportunity. Yeah, so that's how these companies are using, the behaviors, patterns, diseases, what is local to a specific area, and that is how they are making it. They're tailoring it to ensure that people are getting the benefits of it. Global examples here is B Doctor and JD Health. It's from the big group of JD.com, big group of China, $31 billion market cap. And look at India's market cap of PharmEasy, the biggest, $4 billion. Huge scope. Yeah, they are 8 times bigger. JD Health is 8 times bigger than India's health tech unicorn, which is $4 billion. And V Doctor is $7 billion. Yeah, that's another big one. And you have RO, also founded in 2017, and $5 billion from valuation based out of US. Yeah, so that's the size. Yeah, so look at $4 billion, $1 billion PharmEasy, Practo, and you have these 3 giants in excess of 5, 7, and $30 billion based out of US and China. I'm just rushing through some of the screens because there's a lot of data which you can obviously consume at your leisure once it would be uploaded on YouTube, and you can pause and read through if anyone feels like. Let's look at the last bit, which is the other technologies. Yeah, the miscellaneous ones, and there are a lot of ones which you can resonate with. Nykaa, lot of anxious, a lot of inquiries, a lot of people waiting for this IPO. Yeah, $4 billion they have reached, founded by Fagni Nair, ex Kotak. She was head investment banking. She's raised money. She's raised money for so many corporates, billions of dollars. Wife of Sanjay Nair, who's also a top-notch banker, ex-Citi, now with KKR. Yeah, so founded in 2012, online platform for beauty and wellness. Now also it has offline stores. Private labels, again, it's a very impressive number that even Nykaa is offering their own branded products and people are buying it as much as 15%. Yeah, now they have reached 2,500 crores of revenue. Unbelievable number by any standards. Yeah, look at the backing they have. Sunil Manjal of Hero Group, Narottam Sexaria, ex the early promoter of Ambuja Cement, Lighthouse, TPG, HS Banga, again a venture capitalist. Yeah, so global backers there. Online market is expected to grow at 30%, and so is the other one is from the miscellaneous categories, car trade, which is I think just concluded IPO. The IPO got closed last week. In fact, this week itself, and it's commanding a valuation of at the IPO price, it was looking at a valuation of $1 million. Founded in 2009, and by Ganesh Sanghi and his team, and backed by global giants like JP Morgan and Warburg Pincus. They are effectively a asset light platform to do so many transactions related to car purchase, sell, auction, ads, etc., etc. So all of them are tracking the data from from various. They would have data collected from various sources, and they would have offered these products. Or when you go and shop on Nykaa, they would have collected that data and offered you other products. Yeah, that's how they are. They are consuming it. They are using it. They are making lives easier, generating employment. Right? There's so much of additions being done. There's a multiplier effect being created in the economy. Coming to the similar global examples here, that would be, everybody would resonate with Amazon at least. Look at the market cap of Amazon, $1.7 trillion. Look at Alibaba Group, it's about $500 billion or $500 billion. So that's a scale that they have reached. Shopify is obviously $200 billion, which is about $0.2 trillion. That's the scale at which these companies have risen to. Yeah. Look at the compounding return, 3 years return that they would have generated in excess of 20%, and something like Shopify is given in excess of 100%. Yeah. So not every tech platform company would give you 30, 40, 50, 80, 100% compounding. Obviously, Amazon is listed since almost 2 decades, so therefore it had that big price compounding much earlier, in their history, and which is now getting reflected in other companies like Shopify. So the point I'm making is, again, look at the size here. The smallest is $200 billion, and the largest is $1.7 trillion. Even if I take the smallest here, Shopify, $200 billion, and look at India's others, which is again at 4 billion. And even when we looked at EdTech, which is the Byju's $16 billion, so was Paytm. They are 10, 20, 30, 100 times bigger. Utna scope hai. Again, 2-4 साल में नहीं होगा, 5 years में हो जाएगा, 5 years नहीं होगा, 10 years में हो जाएगा. Yeah, that's the 10x, 5x that we are trying to highlight the opportunity, and some of these will definitely be there. Okay, सब हो गया. Sara platforms related. What's the sweet part? What's the not so sweet part? Right? Obviously, Sara हमने देख लिया. उसका conclusion क्या है? Yeah. So some obviously would still remain in red, continue to burn money. Yeah, but scale is important. Yeah. Let's look at the sweet part first. Scale is important. एक बार scale मिल जाएगा, profitability आ जाएगा. That's been proven by Amazon, Shopify, and many other tech platforms. Data plays a key role. Addressable market is huge. बहुत बड़ी market है इंडिया में. 138 crores population and counting every day, every second. People going, and we'll see in subsequent slides, people moving to smartphones, internet, people shopping online. The average age of people going down every year in terms of the working population, etc. Huge addressable market. Growth rates, therefore, very, very high. And lastly, the new age tech companies like a pharmacy acquiring the traditional brick and mortar companies like Thyrocare. They did it. Byju's acquired Akash Education. So how the old and the new are converging. Not so good part. मिर्ची कहाँ पे लग सकती है? कभी तीखी, कभी बहुत ज्यादा तीखी. ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा. Please do not forget the risk. Yeah, very important. Look at China. What happened recently? They said all tech companies को not for profit बना दो. अगर आप जो profit कमा रहे हो, because you providing education, you should not be making profits, right? The stock started correcting, as they have corrected as much as 30%, as low as 30%, and as 80%. That's the level of correction that was seen. Obviously, they tried to do some damage control, but it was too late. Yeah, so this space will have to be monitored very closely from regulatory aspect. Yeah, how they can consistently leverage data. Yeah, that will be very important. Yeah, and cash burn चलता रहेगा. So ये सब थोड़ा सा इसमें आपका risk factor जरूर रहेंगे, उसको ध्यान रखना. Let's conclude. As I said, remember I said at the start, there will be a slide at the end. Look at the top 10 in India by market cap. in 2016, and look at 2021, right? Some of these names in 2016 do not figure in 2021. Which are those? ITC, Sun Pharmaceuticals, Coal India, ONGC. Those are 16 में top 10 में थे इंडिया के मार्केट कैप में आज, right? Our sense is in 5 years down the line, right? Obviously there will be more changes, but at least 3 tech companies, 3 new age companies बोल लीजिए, tech platforms बोल लीजिए, companies would end up forming part of the top 10. Yeah, and while the others would means, again, this 226 is again, please do not take it as an estimate, just a indicative, just to say that there would be some green stroke names, which obviously we are saying these will be the tech platform companies. And they would obviously, if top 10 में आ गए हैं, तो obviously जाहिर सी बात है Nifty में भी आ ही जाएगा. So it is, and getting a Nifty is a very big achievement. Yeah. Please keep in mind, हर tech company multi-bagger नहीं बनेगी. Right? Private companies में अगर invest करने का कोई भी आपको, if you get opportunities, please ensure we are doing enough due diligence on the management, on the core competency. Company की खासियत क्या है? Size of the sector कितना important? बहुत important. कितना बड़ा? वो जानना बहुत जरूरी है. Right? Therefore, please do extensive due diligence before putting company in a private company which claims to be in a tech space, a tech platform space. Therefore, we would suggest IPO route is the best option. IPO ने किसी में अगर, let's say अगर recently listed zomato में IPO में डाला था, and he was lucky, even then he's doubled his money. And by no means we are saying that the story is over. And I don't think anyone would say that if anyone's looking at a 5 to 10 years view, obviously, many of these recently listed, to be listed in the next couple of months, or to be listed in 2022 could be multi-baggers, right? Therefore, IPO route could be a much safer option. Yeah, so to conclude, IPO rate could be a much safer option. Privately companies में due diligence करना बहुत जरूरी है, और हर कंपनी जो अपने आप को टेक प्लेटफॉर्म बनती है बोलेगी हम यहाँ से मल्टी-बैगर हो सकते हैं, रेवेन्यूज में, प्रॉफिट्स में, स्टॉक प्राइस वाइज. प्लीज डू नॉट believe it and just blindly believe it, and to extensive due diligence, if required, take the help of stock advisors, equity advisory companies like Research and